So they finally released the 2025 files on J.F.K. Jr., President J.F.K. Jr. But they have been releasing files since 2023, but not of this magnitude. And I will show you that. I'm at the National Archives right now, and we're going to get into that next on the Human Spectrum. So welcome back to the Human Spectrum. Thank you for watching today. I appreciate it. Important stuff to talk about. What you see here is the website at the National Archives. And just briefly, I'm going to show you down below. There have been other releases, 2023, 2022, 21, and 2017 through 2018. But these recent files here, and we'll take a quick peek at them. These files were the ones that were secret, and a lot of them were redacted, and they're no longer redacted. And I've been combing through these. Again, these were secret. This is just a one-page file, and it's a routing and recording sheet. That's what we have on that one. Then on the second one, we have more information. JFK assassination system for identification form. Agency information, CIA, and they have all the document numbers. And like I said, you can go to the website here and look at all of these files. And I already went through them. And I can just sum it up into a couple of words. Not complete, but a lot of information, and we'll get into that. So if you want to check out these latest PDF files that were released, Trump announced that they were released, and I know a lot of the news agencies have been combing through, I don't know, some 60,000, 80,000 files all night long. So definitely check out the National Archives. And when you get there, you'll see this title, and this is pretty much what we got for 2025 on the 18th. And obviously there's a lot more pages, a lot more. So that's something you want to go through. I would recommend going through some of these, especially when you get into the page 50 through 60, somewhere in those 10 pages. You're going to find some interesting things that are related to what I'm going to talk to you about. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show you really quick. They already posted it up there. So what we're going to do now is just turn off the display capture, and I'm going to show you exactly what I was talking about. There was a news clip from last night, and it was from NBC News. Interviewing this gentleman who called these files that we were just discussing from the National Archives, these newly released files for 2025, he called it not a nothing burger. And when they get toward the end of this little clip, you're going to understand a little more of what I'm going to implement as far as my opinions. And I'm going to be careful with them because based on what I read and based on how the news is reporting it, it's always two different things. It always is. That's why I recommend you go and read it yourself. But let's take a look at this clip really quick from NBC last night about this gentleman calling it not a nothing burger. So let's take a look at it.
This morning, reaction growing after the Trump administration released thousands of pages about the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Joining us now, someone who has been going through the files, Jefferson Morley, editor of the JFK Facts. And Substack and vice president of the Mary Farrell Foundation. Jefferson, thanks so much for being with us, Jefferson. What are your takeaways so far? There's a lot of this, and a lot of this is not really organized.
Yeah, so we spent last night going through the 2,000 or so documents, and I got to tell you, Lincoln, there's a sensational story here that people need to know. This is not a nothing burger, as people will tell you. There's an amazingly interesting and pregnant story in these JFK files. Let me explain. Late last night, we got the unredacted testimony of CIA counterintelligence chief James Angleton, who testified behind closed doors to Senate investigators in 1975. Up till yesterday, about 40 pages of the 113-page transcript were redacted. All of those redactions have come off, and we see a new window into the CIA's pre-assassination surveillance of Lee Harvey Oswald. One document, FBI document released yesterday, indicates that Angleton recruited Lee Harvey Oswald as a 20-year-old Marine as a contact or a source for the CIA in 1959. Other documents released in recent years show that Angleton kept Oswald under surveillance, monitoring his politics, his personal life, his foreign travels, his contacts for the next 4 years, from November 1959 to November 1963. By November 1963, we now know, thanks to these documents, Angleton had a 180-page file on Oswald on his desk a week before Kennedy went to Dallas. So what this story raises is the question, was the CIA incredibly, atrociously incompetent when it came to Lee Harvey Oswald? Or was Angleton actually running an operation involving Oswald? We don't have the answer to that question because there's still some relevant records to come out. For example, one file of another CIA officer who was involved in the pre-assassination surveillance of Oswald is still kept secret. So this is a great first start. There's an incredible story here, but we need to do more research.
Jefferson, and talk to us, if you would, a little bit more about who Angleton was, and then is there anywhere any document or information? I was listening last night to some of the audio tapes that the CIA carried out of the Cuban embassy in Mexico City when they used Oswald supposedly being there or not. But talk to us about Angleton. And at the time, you know, President Kennedy was so involved in what was going on in Vietnam, others totally in opposition to what the military, the United States military wanted, and also sending that reporter to Cuba to speak with Fidel Castro, Jean Daniel. Is there any possibility of getting this stuff anywhere?
You know, it is coming out, and we need to spend more time with this. But what we see in the latest releases is this pattern of malfeasance on the part of the CIA. You talk about Kennedy's interest in Cuba. You know, one of the important documents that surfaced yesterday is about the origins of Kennedy's mistrust of the CIA, which started in 1961 and continued through 1963. And we got a memo yesterday about Kennedy's plans to reorganize the CIA. And a lot of that memo had been redacted before. We now understand why Kennedy mistrusted the CIA, and a mistrust that, to be sure, was returned by CIA officers who did not like his liberal policies.
So we have a few key takeaways from that short interview you just watched. Let's focus on the end of it. Well, kind of. What we do know is since 1961, he didn't like how military and agencies such as the CIA or NSA or other agencies were handling things. He wasn't pleased with how it was working, and he was trying very hard to, you know, push his narrative and his way of doing things because he thought it was a better way of doing it. But he did make statements like he didn't like the way this agency was doing things, and he had made the comment before that he wanted to and I think he said it in better words, but he wanted to like reorganize it. But there were other times that based, if you read some of the stuff that I told you to read, and I hope you do look through it, there you'll see in there that Kennedy pretty much said what's on the thumbnail, because he was so frustrated with that particular agency at that particular time, between 61, 63, and so it makes you wonder, you know, including the UAP issue, which you're going to find out next, because I'm going to show you a quick trailer of what's coming up in case you haven't heard. We have a new kind of a documentary coming. It's going to be pretty good, I think. I watched the trailer, and if you haven't seen it, I'm going to play it next. And when you kind of tie the possibilities of what may have really happened based on your reading and my research, because I've been reading a lot of those pages, and how Oswald was being investigated. They were watching him ahead of time. There was a lot of chatter in there. You'll see a lot of writing about it. They were watching him for at least 4 years before the assassination. But then there's this, like the guy said on NBC News, there's this turning point there. There's another side of that glass that doesn't make sense, and that's what he's going to continue to dig into and get back to that reporter that he was speaking with. But it just goes to show you that I guess my point is, if governments are involved in this way, it's extremely dangerous. And if we heard this before, we've heard this throughout the UFO community and the UAP community. And when you watch this trailer, you'll understand what I mean. So kind of a little treat for you for the end of this video. Let's have a look at this trailer of this new disclosure documentary.
The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone.
Non-human intelligence exists.
UAPs are real, they're here, and they're not human. I spent 25 years as a senior official with the CIA.
I worked on highly classified UAP programs.
28 years as an astrophysicist.
I served as the 4th Director of National Intelligence.
Director of Aviation Security in the National Security Council.
A one-star admiral after 32 years of service.
People that come forward with this, I feel like they've taken their life in their own hands.
I was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomenon.
For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
So look at that thing. It's rotating. There's a whole fleet of them.
The first country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
China has established its own version of a UAP task force.
You think for a second that they wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination?
This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
This is so secret. Very, very few people in our entire government have been allowed access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis, but that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees.
You better be careful about a government that doesn't trust its people, because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species.
It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
We should have disclosure today. We should have disclosure tomorrow. The time has come.
What else you want to know?
So just to be clear, that looks like it's going to be great. I can't wait to watch it. I hope you enjoyed that trailer. A lot of big names in there. What you saw in that trailer were people that were in the government, and in high places in the government, and some still are. And you see what they talk about throughout this whole thing, especially the Tennessee congressman, about how dangerous it could be. People going missing. I don't want to get too deep into that because that's a sensitive subject for a lot of people that obviously still work for the government, and I respect the work they do, especially being a former government worker myself. But what I will say is, on either case, whether it's the JFK files, what happened already. Based on what I read, based on how they're reporting it, there are people that were supposed to be not undead, according to some of these files you're going to read. And we're not talking about Oswald. We're talking about a few other people that names we haven't heard before. It'll surprise you. And then just looking at this trailer, you can see how dangerous it's already been for the last at least 83 years with this UFO, UAP, and the subject of orbs, and what we may have, what other countries may be competing to get, like they mentioned in the trailer. I mean, it's not just us. I mean, we have China, we have big countries, even, you know, smaller countries that are interested in these things, and if they find these things, they reverse engineer it and they use it. Of course, my big thing is, we know they have devices as big as a cigarette box that can power a home or a car, and that's a real electric car, not one you plug into your garage or at an electric station for Teslas. Nothing against Tesla. I'm just saying that's not a real electric car. To me, an electric car would be if they let the American people and the rest of the world have this device that just pulls the energy right from around us. And just think that what it would do for third world countries. At least 10 to 15 years, 20 max, nobody would be cooking with wood or coal anymore. And drill baby drill is not helping any. So I hope Luna and her team moves on to the next one, and hopefully they get into the UAP one, and that's going to be interesting to see how many PDF files come out of that one. And I also know there's some recordings. You heard that that NBC news anchor talk about he was listening to some recordings. I'm going to find those recordings and see if there's anything worth listening to on there. And if I do find them, I'm going to bring it here on the Human Spectrum so that you can listen to them. I was very curious when he said that. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think the government was involved in different ways, knowing that President JFK was not happy with the way things were going, and how they were conducting business around the world? Yeah, definitely leave me a comment. I'd like to know what you think. This is a very important one. I'm glad they released the files. I'm going to keep reading through them. I'm up to probably 73, so we'll see what else I find. But if I find something quicker, I'll just bring it to you here on the video, because I know a lot of people don't like to read and they just want to get the information fast. So if I can do that for you, I definitely will. Just do me a favor. I'm trying to reach 500 subscribers. We're a growing community, so you could subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And again, give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think in the comments about this video today. And I got more work to do, and I'll have another video coming out soon. So thanks for watching, wherever you are. Take care of yourselves.